So, one thing that's been on my mind lately is the idea that you cannot let go of you. No matter what in this life, no matter what is going on, no matter what stage of life you're at, what phase of life you're in, the most important thing is to make sure you choose yourself and you do not let go of what makes you you. I have a story for y'all. So I work at a finance firm. I won't give too much detail. Keep me a little bit of anonymity. I think I'm saying that wrong. But I work at a finance firm, and if you know anything about working in finance, it's very demanding. It's a lot of tough hours, a lot of, high stress, all sorts of BS going on, right? But the trade-off is for all that stress and all that time you sacrifice, you can make a lot of money, right? So it's no wonder why it's, such a popular field. And truth be told, I hate my job. I won't lie to y'all. I hate it because, when I went into this field, it was something that was a part of me that I thought I loved, and I thought I could love the process. I love, finances. I love, looking at the stock market. But ultimately, as I work my job, it's like, it's not a lot of that I ultimately ended up dealing with, unfortunately. I see bits and pieces of it, and I've learned a lot, but how involved am I with that process, right? And so I was having a conversation with a guy who used to work there for 28 years and recently retired. And, he's an older dude and he's well off. He has one account there. He probably has, other accounts as well, obviously. And in this one account, he has like 5 mil. So he's definitely well off. And I really appreciate the dude because, you know, he's one of those people that, even despite this high stress, high octane, high pace environment, it never changed who he was. And every time I'd call this dude and talk with him, because we had to work on things together, he'd always say, you'd ask him how he was, and he'd always say, it's the best day of my life. And I admire that because despite all of that, you still have this positive, attitude about you. I love that. It's not a lot of people that can say that. And he's talking with me. He's like an older guy giving a younger guy advice. I'm 24. He's like in his 60s. So he asked me, he's like, how old are you doing? I'm like, I'm 24. And he's like, what do you like to do? You know? And like, he's like, what are your passions? And I tell him, I love music. I like to make music. I love to listen to music. Music is my life. I love fitness, as you guys can see here. It's very important to me. Staying fit, staying healthy, nutrition and cooking as well. And, I love fashion. So I tell him this, and he's like, even though it may feel like currently you do not have the time for that, with you pulling these 10, 11, 12-hour days, even though it may not feel like you have the time for that and you have to sacrifice these things, the one thing you cannot sacrifice is what makes you you. So he's telling me, no matter what type of hours you have to pull, no matter what is going on, maybe things in your life might have to change. Maybe, some of these places aren't the right places for you to be. And that's okay. We're not bound to be doing the same thing forever. A lot of y'all folks need to understand that. It's okay to make change in your life. You may think you're in one of the best positions. Sometimes you just need to experience it and understand. But he's basically telling me, like, no matter what's going on, never let that shit fall off. You have to keep making sure you're, keeping up with the fitness. Make sure you have time to, focus on music. Make sure you have time to, you know, keep cooking, keep being a chef. Because that's what makes Dylan Dylan. And the reason he stressed that is because, man, life goes by so quick. Especially when you work in these fast-paced environments. It's fast-paced for a reason. Before you know it, it's 12 o'clock. Before you know it, it's 4 o'clock. Before you know it, it's the end of the day. And then it's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And now it's a new week. And he said, man, I blinked and I went from 20 to 60. That's insane. Absolutely insane. He basically did 30 years. From 30, he recently turned 60. And, you listen to a guy, you have all the money that you could possibly want. But it's like, what is the point if you can't do nothing with it, right? And it makes me wonder, it's like, as I've been, getting more to the money, getting my own, things that I've wanted for so long. I have my own car now. I have my own place. I can go visit these restaurants, and, I've traveled more recently. I've been able to like visit other states, and that's all great. That's all fine and dandy. But most of the time, I'm not happy because of how much stress is on me. That's besides the point though. But then too, I really don't even have the time for it. I don't even have the time to stick to those things. So it's like, what I'm saying is fucking me up right now is ultimately because of my job, and because I'm so infatuated with the money, I'm letting go of what makes me me. But I can't, because that's why I'm not happy. And maybe one of y'all needed to hear this today too. We're not all the same. We're not all gonna have the same ideals and the same goals. Don't get it twisted. I'm not telling you quit your job. Sometimes you gotta, do the main hustle and then have the side hustle. It is called the side hustle for a reason. It's supposed to be on the side. But finding that balance is really the most difficult part. Sometimes the side hustle is the thing that's supposed to be making you the money, but we do understand, like, it takes time to get there, right? I can make money off of my passion for music and fitness and fashion and cooking and all that stuff. I could, but it's going to take some time. But if I ever get to a point, like now, I'm just barely making it. If I ever get to a point where now I can't do any of those things, am I really living? And another point that he brought up was that the responsibilities don't go away. It's not like, oh, fuck, 1 million drops in your account and boom, you just have no more responsibilities. Nah, man. The responsibilities don't go away. It doesn't matter how much fucking money you have. I promise you that. You know what I'm saying? You could have your dream car and your dream girl and your dream house, but you're still gonna have to deal with the responsibilities that come with it, right? You're gonna have a family eventually. Time's gotta go to your kids, your loved ones. You still got bills no matter what. Doesn't matter how much money you have, you're still gonna have to pay them fucking bills, right? It may not be stressful anymore, but it's still there. And, just other practical things in life that you gotta deal with. You still have, the rest of your other family you gotta take care of. All that. So it's like, that's why it's important right now to make sure you never lose sight of what makes you you and having time for that. I'm telling you, because 10 years will go down the line and you'll be like, damn, you know, a lot of niggas will say, man, I wish I went harder on the work and I wish I went harder on, just like the bare necessities, man. Just like the bare necessities of living. Look, I get it, man. As a man, you got to make this money. You know what I'm saying? You got to be, what's it called? You got to be going to the gym, take care of yourself, all that, man. That's the bare necessities. But if that's all I do in life, my nigga, I'm not going to be happy. I don't care how much fucking money you have, bro. Look, money can take away stress, but money does not buy happiness. You know what I'm saying? It only amplifies the feelings you currently have. If you're not happy, you know what I'm saying, you can spend, spend, spend. Man, I'm able to buy, for the most part, everything I want right now. But my nigga, I don't even got a time to enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? What's the point? You get the car, you could drive anywhere, but you don't even have the time to really enjoy that shit. My nigga, there's only 24 hours in the day. He was saying, man, if you gotta force it, force it. But at the same time, this also makes me realize, like, maybe some things gotta change. I don't know how, but what I do know is God has a plan for me. Whatever happens, I'll get through it. Whatever happens, we'll get through it. But, I think some people just need to hear that, you know. So if there's one thing I want you to take away from all this, and hopefully I didn't ramble too much, is that please, whatever you do, man, whatever you do, ladies and gentlemen, don't ever sacrifice your passions. Don't ever lose sight of your dreams. I know it sounds so cliche and so painfully obvious, but when you're working a job and dealing with these responsibilities and finding that you may not have time for everything, it just make sure you don't lose sight of yourself. Man, it's 11:42 and I'm recording this video, and it's not because of the potential money or the potential attention that I could get from it or any of those external motivators, but it's because this is what I love. This is what makes me happy. Putting something like this together makes me happy, knowing that I can not only share my feelings with y'all, but maybe introduce you to a new way of thinking. Maybe, some ideas that perhaps you had a little piece of it and you just needed this to really clear your mind and understand what's needed to move forward. So, with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Love to drop more for y'all. Keep going. Don't stop. Don't lose sight of who you are. And we only have one life. Let's make sure we live in it.